Hey nerds, welcome back to the letter. We are now starting Ash's point of view. Now I am going to tell you that I did look at his branching tree, not bit to I avoided spoilers and stuff like that, but just to look at the length bar at the bottom, and from what I can tell, Ash is the longest character, so they might have really, really long days, so either get ready for really long videos, or I'm going to have to break this up pretty much a lot. So let's just jump right into it and see Ash's point of view. So the really good thing about starting with Ash is he's starting at the party. He's starting party day, which means we are skipping all that beginning stuff and we're going right into this, thankfully. Parties have never really been my thing. They're always such a hassle and take so much time off my day. Other prior plans and commitments canceled, all for the sake of playing along with others.
Welcome everyone.
I've hated them, even as a child.
Please, make yourselves at home.
But Mom often insisted on dressing me up for these when I was a little boy. She slicked my hair back, put me in one of those stuffy dinner jackets, and if there were any children around, urged me to go make friends. Never mind how utterly loud and tedious it can be. It was all for the sake of keeping up appearances, pretending to play nice with others. To some extent, lies and intrigues have always surrounded me, long before I've chosen what I wanted to do with my life. Luckily, there are easy ways to tune everything out, and much to my mom's frustration, I've always managed to sneak my CD player along back then. I kept to myself and to my music, had my own little world, until I learned to observe. Sure, all it took was my mom confiscating my plan during one social function. But when left with nothing better to do, watching people appeared a much interesting activity. More so than finging a curious face, while a snot-nosed kid babbled on about his shiny new toy. In fact, it still is. It's simply a matter of awareness, really. And for someone with a keen eye and a screwed necktie or a simple flick of a wrist alone can tell volumes of a person. I still don't like parties, especially ones as big as fancy as the Wright's housewarming. However, when there is actually good reason to go to them, I figure they're not too bad.
Be careful with Shirley, alright?
Thank goodness Ash is drawn very well. Besides, like it or not, it's all part of the job. I'm here on a mission. One that has the name Luke Wright plastered all over it. You'll think the man will want to remain inconspicuous, after his name has been linked to several high-profile crimes across Luxborn. Granted, most of it have gone cold over the years, having stagnated without any lead or evidence, but it still doesn't make him any less suspect. Jeez. Yet, here he is, throwing a party in his own backyard. Although, having observed the man this past year, I'm not even shocked. He crazy, the damn spotlight. Constant yearns for attention like a neglected puppy. It doesn't take a genius to figure out why he's nowhere to be found at his own party. He's likely waiting for an opportunity, a grand entrance. But that's not the problem here. What pisses me off is how far his reach extends, how close he has creeped into the lives of the people I care about. Again, like a stubborn itch you can't get rid of. First, Professor Clark. Then there's Isabella. I've also spotted Z-Man around here a while ago, and now there's also Rebecca.
Can't you at least act with a bit more shame?
Becca, if I find a single scratch on Shirley, there will be hell to pay.
There will also be hell to pay if he is so much harms a hair on either Zach or Rebecca's head. Oh. Worrying about Isabella's brief dealing with him is stressing in itself already. I doubt he'll attempt in front of any people, though. Any untoward action will tarnish his glorious reputation with peers, and he values appearance more than anything else. Prefers to do whatever disposal necessary as quietly as possible, away from the limelight. That doesn't necessarily mean he isn't capable of doing so, more than, in fact, on the off chance he pulls a stunt. I won't be responsible for my actions.
Those guys know what they're doing. The handling car's worth more than your precious Shirley.
For Zachary and Rebecca's sake, however, I really hope this is simply another housewarming, even though something tells me it's anything but. This, despite freely sharing a brief laughter or two with the latter, when the conversation is called for it. Call it detective's intuition or whatever. When Luke Wright's involved, nothing good has ever come out of it. I simply can't let my guard down here. More so when nearby a familiar car slows to a stop and out comes.
Chief?
My presence here might be odd, at best, but I have an excuse. One that man, standing a few meters away from me, handed himself a year ago. Served up on a plate, no less, along with a heavy helping of flattery for the newly promoted detective inspector. Can't exactly say the same for the good old boss, can I? Although, to see him here, catching it up with Luxborn's rich and famous, isn't such a big surprise in itself. No disrespect it meant, but the guy is obviously a social climber. But it is surprising is the fact that he seems all too eager to mingle with a person of the interest wife. Just what the hell is he doing here?
Ashton, what's...
Sorry, Becca, I just saw someone I need to catch up with. Longtime friend.
What the shit is going on here?
Oh, wait, Ash, what about...
This won't be long. Be careful while I'm gone, okay?
Hey, be careful! About what exact...
I don't want to draw attention to myself either. At least not until given me the proper reason to spoil his little party.
Thank you for the invite, Anna. Husband still missing, I see.
I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee. The doctors again?
For now, the best I can do is wait, blend in the crowd, remain inconspicuous, to cast less suspicion about myself. Zach and Rebecca too, as much as possible. Even if it's meant having to pretend I don't know them, and forcing myself to rub elbows with people I barely know, let alone like. I can't involve them, especially when the added risk of having Chief here, whoever motives are dubious at best. Wandering is out of the question, this early as well. When there is a guard and civvies stationed here and there to make sure nosy guests don't go about unattended. Going past them is something I can do at ease, but I'd rather not right now, when I'm one of the few snooping and roaming about. It'll be best to try and do so when there's a crowd of people. And if there's an interior designer, drunken claims are to be believed.
Yes, well, what about Luke? Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24 hours?
He's around.
You know, I can tell if someone's bluffing.
It all come down to how I'll play my cards tonight. With a good hand, this party's going to give me a breakthrough. I need to crack Luke right, or something to prove my suspicion wrong. Either or. Maybe find out what kind of game my boss is also playing. I've had an e-linking before, a few hunches tempered down by how much of a bumbling fool the man appears, in spite of his rank in the force. But one does not simply deal with the rights and get invited to a party they host, without wanting anything from either of the two. Or the other way around. So with the last weary glance at the two, I head into the ballroom where the party is at. I just hope this will not complicate things further. Shit. By the time the party comes into full swing, night has fallen. Yet there still isn't a sight of Luke Wright. I'm aware, and likely the rest of the upper class Luxborn, how strenuous the man can be. Frankly, I'm impressed. I don't even know how many hours d'Ivoire I've gotten my hands on and stuffed my face during the wait. I probably had too many deviled eggs and va-lu-vin as it is, and the servers are already giving me a stink eye every time I saunter over to the buffet table. Blame your employee, not me. He's the one who has the guts to show up late. Besides, most of the guests idle talk and concentrated in this area. Since I'll be stuck in this ballroom for a while, I might as well keep an ear out for useful info gossip might let slip. Despite standing in the same room with very people they're whispering about, just some can't resist.
Is Suarez still fixing that tech problem?
Tech problem?
It's been 3 years. Sooner or later, the Blighter will put 2 and 2 together.
He might have already.
If the red tape I'm being slammed with these past months suggests anything. That or someone has been pulling strings. I wouldn't be shocked. This case would not have gone this far if Scumbag doesn't have a mole or some kind of force.
Shush you, we all know Suarez just wants an out.
I knew he was bad news the day the merger with Evans Incorporated happened.
Fair. Glad I did not have to deal with that. But keep it down, someone might hear. The wife especially.
This kind of negligence is always an advantage for me. However, at times, I wish I could be smashed drunk while doing so. Having a sharp ear also means having the most unsavory things. Who cheated on who this week? One person's motive for bashing another's skull against a wall, or a father's excuse for burning his own daughter alive, those sort of stuff. After a few years, it gets tiring. You get desensitized at some point, yes, but humans can be downright awful. Sometimes there's just enough brain bleached in the world. Sadly, the wine I have on hand is a no-go tonight, mostly for show. I'm up for another drive later, for one, and I definitely want to be sober in case anything comes up. And something always comes up on assignments like this, no matter how routine and peaceful things may be. A detective inspector dying of cardiac arrest, for example. Because I can feel the moment my heart grinds to a halt, and the second I shift my eyes to the corner of the ballroom. There, Rebecca stands right next to me.
Hannah Wright.
Some people will point out I'm acting a touch bit paranoid, and maybe I am. This is a party, and she's the hostess. It goes to say she'll take time to mingle with her guest. Well, Hannah Wright, Nee Evans, isn't a woman. Without her fair share of a condolence. Oh, at least to the public she isn't. Unlike her spouse, she's the one with the business sense, not to mention the impressive track record needed to manage a company. Or effectively hide whatever irregularity there might be. Though she's clean, as far as my agents and I have found, it doesn't rule out the possibility of involvement with whatever her husband's up to. Even with Z-Man's personal opinion of the woman, certain gut feeling you can't really easily shake off. Hell, Luke Wright came out of clean according to previous reports, until I bothered to take a deeper look into it. The official records may say otherwise, but people will be surprised how much a random busybody knows about their employer. And I've gleaned may not be sufficient to bring anyone to trail yet, but enough to nurture suspicion. Assuming the worst may be a bit of an over-exaggeration, of a reaction, as I walk calmly towards them, but one does not last long as I have in my line of work being careless.
You would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
Didn't realize the housewarming was going to be this fancy. I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew.
Just some small talk then. Nothing to be worried about, like I've initially thought. In fact, she's probably even more careful with appearance than with her own husband. Knows how to handle herself in front of potential witnesses, having grown up with the spotlight focused on her. Yet, even knowing that, the anxiety stays. It's been there since the party started, thinking about it. I brushed it off earlier. Who wouldn't feel edgy, right? I've gone undercover in a party hosted by the very person I'm investigating. That in itself is risky, has plenty of rooms for error. Usually though, the tension passes around the first floor half hour or so. I've been trained to remain composed in situations like this. However, with each second I spend here, it only grows heavier, seeking to overwhelm. An odd feeling that someone is watching me instead. Yes, people will be looking at me, no matter how small or big a blimp I am on their radar. That's what they do in these things. After all, I'm someone they barely know, hardly belong to this world. I stand up for one reason or another. I should already be used to it because of my training. But when the feeling of my eyes burning into the back lingers longer than necessary, I know something's wrong. I've been looking around, every now and then to catch a culprit guilty of an act. No luck. No matter my efforts to push the sensation far down as I can, it really bothers me. Pinpricks stringing on the back of my head, the ghost of cold touch crawling, creeping up my limbs. She's swashing him. Until I switch my gaze back to Rebecca and Hannah Wright. He's gonna see it too! She stands there, dark-haired and dirty, sticking out like a sore thumb for the rest in the room. Even so, no one seems to notice. Though she's not looking straight back at me, her mere existence here strikes, disturbs. A sense of tunnel vision blinds while I simply stand stock style and gape at her. Like my life depends on making sure she stays where she is. I feel trapped under my presence until another guest bumps into me, yanking me out of the stupor. Only then do I realize that I have been holding my breath. Hey! What are you doing? What are you doing? No. Wait, come here. No. Kiss. Good. No. Good. Before I can figure out what simply has happened, she's gone. Even if it's only for a split second, she's out of my line of sight. My quick scan of the room yields no sign of her. The party continues as if nothing misses. I'm not really one to judge, but I'm sure someone like that would have been allowed to fancy things like this. She would have been hauled out of here before she can say Jack Robinson. What has the security been doing? The security they hired really that incompetent for someone so distinct to easily get into and without notice? None of these snooty rich people have been affected by her presence either. There should have been some outcry about a dirty beggar in here by now, particularly from the host. She's been standing almost at arm's length away from the woman, and yet she simply continues her talk with Rebecca.
Oh, the professor! And your little Becky!
My parents couldn't make it since they're in Scotland right now. And Mom says hi, by the way.
Is there something in the food then? That I'm starting to see things? It couldn't have been the wine though. I'm every bit sober as when I first stepped off my car. I didn't even take a single sip, despite taking a glass off the buffet on my third trip back. The hors d'oeuvre. I've had so much after all. But why would anyone want to do that? Why would Luke Wright want to do that? He's fishy. Though I can't seem he'll ever think I'll be a good idea to lace the food he'll serve in his party. With the highest ranking police officer like Chief Lee at his guest list to boot. He has been linked to narcotic trade. Yep, however, this is above him. That much I can tell. Unless there's a mass murder waiting to happen here tonight. Morbid thoughts aside, I don't feel any different. Can't take off the symptoms of hallucinogens in my system. Nobody else from the crowd looks like they've been dropped up as well, and we've all been eating the same food. Both Rebecca and Zach appeared fine to me. So...
What the fuck was that?
I really can't put it in more eloquentity than that. But there's no time to pull apart the meat of this mystery. Not when a silence comes across the room and draws everyone's attention to the main doors of the ballroom. Where finally, Luke Wright decides to grace us lowly peasants with his noble existence.
About damn time.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Enjoying the party? I hope I'm not too late in welcoming you all to the Wright Mansion.
I've been tailing this guy for a while now. Before that, I've heard stories from previous officers who have tackled this investigation. None of them are pleasant. Mind, I'm not counting the incident of Professor Clark yet. Pleasant is glossing over the gravity of it. While Wright's good of covering whatever shady stuff he's doing, he's shown to be a real rotten guy. At least that's the case he thinks none other than the peers are around to judge him. I've lost track of how many counts of verbal abuse and harassment cases the guy can be pinned with during the time I've been watching him. Fuck, he even tried to make a move on Isabella back in the open house, right in front of his wife. Standing in the same room as him now doesn't make me want to punch him any less. Actually, the urge is stronger this time, but protocols. My case, first and foremost. My own opinion of the man shouldn't get ahead of my purpose here. If I want to put him in this place, it'll be in court, with the proper charge filed against him. I'll only be able to progress to once I have enough evidence to pin this bastard down.
Welcome one and all to our humble abode. Tonight, if you have yet to find yourself in your roles, you are all ladies and lords of the court of your king and queen, if you would excuse my presumptuousness. So, enjoy the feast that has been laid out for your senses as we only allowed the best to be served. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone!
Suppressing my annoyance, I prepare to step away from the crowd that has gathered around him. Amidst the cheering claps, now is a good time as any move. Try to find that something that Miss McCarl woman talked about. In the first place, I have no plans to actually shake hands with the slime ball himself. A fake smile is plastered on my face while I pretend to listen to one of the guests gossiping about him, all while slowly inching out of the ballroom. Unfortunately, before I can get any further, the whole drama starts.
Are you feeling ill, Rochelle? Perhaps you need to sit down and...
Rich people only have two ways to resolve their messes. Either they quietly deal with it behind closed doors, or they create an even greater problem out of it, and it just blows up in everyone's face one way or another. Because a chaotic wreck involving a media and every muckracker in the story will reach. Fun.
No! Shut it, you monster! I ain't talking to you! I'm talking to this scumbag over here! You bloody bastard standing there with your smarmy smile!
Not even a few seconds in this already proving itself to be a big public spectacle. Why spend money on a television to buy a daytime soap opera? You can just go to one of these and see the action unfold in its real life. You get free food too. Really, if I were an actual guest, I'd just take this as time a sordid form of amusement.
Watch your tongue! You're on thin ice, Rochelle. Where's your husband? Who even invited you?
But I'm not a guest who's here for a good time. I need to focus on him. Every mistake he might make or words he accidentally might spill, even through the whole sorry tale. Hell, although I've lost my chance because of this, the whole thing might still tell me something that will turn into a breakthrough for the case. This may be what I would need, really, instead of trying to sneak about it. Odds are security are tighter now, the guards on the edge for any other person who will try to take advantage of this. Damn, I should have left a half an hour in. Still, and nothing from this, well shit, back to square one. Time to head back to where Shirley is and start thinking about my other options. No use in staying here any longer if there isn't anything. For now, I wait, I listen, I observe. Interesting, isn't it though? That the chief inspector's wife. That was really quick. What was the date that it said? The 20... Okay, so now we are on to the 29th. Yep, and the 29th, she gets possessed. We'll continue on. The morning after starts off quiet. With the commotion from the night before, it's a little too surprising having to wake up well-rested. Even with the whole Salem Well resident seems unusual still. The open hallway when I step out of the stretch, devoid of tenants out of the usual morning sweep of the grounds. No sounds coming from the other units either, or signs of other people just waking up. It's almost as if something brewing in the horizon. A peaceful night's sleep still does wonders for the mood, though. I have Rebecca's unbelievably comfortable couch to thank for that, I guess. No offense meant to Zach's couch, of course. It's really cozy, comparatively speaking. I can't even remember the last time I slept without any urgent interrupting. It's a nice break from all the bad news lately. If it isn't for the intermittent buzzing in my pocket waking me up, I'll readily sleep in, just to catch a few extra minutes of shut-eye. The ringing has stopped before I can move somewhere private, but sleep has always been effectively kicked out of my system by then. Pity. I can use a little more rest, until I have the face of the other storms I've created last night. Of course I owe Rebecca an explanation. It doesn't matter if it's the whole truth or another hastily spun tale. Although, I haven't really figured out what and how the part yet. Unlike Zach and Isabella, who don't usually ask further questions and are content with what little I can share, Rebecca rather quick on the trigger. Those Nancy Blue games we used to play as children should take in well to them. Not to the same degree as I have, but still, keen enough to figure some things out. It will have to be set aside for later, though. A second soon, my phone rings again, cutting off the rest of my thoughts.
Sup, I'm Ash from Deluxe City.
Chief Inspector Lee's name flashes on the screen.
Looking for trouble?
Sad.
Better not lie.
It would have been nice to just chill after last night, or maybe half listen to the other news. Sure, it's the same thing we've been hearing lately. Still beats standing outside in the chilly Luxborn morning on the phone with my boss. Sighing, I answer it. If only to get it over with. To hear him so grumpy, however. Now that's something I haven't expected from him at this hour.
Frey, where are you right now?
Sounds like someone got into a few drinks last night and is suffering for it in the morning. Just thinking about how this'll go gives me a headache. Immediately I reach up to my hand and pinch the bridge of my nose to stave it off.
This is why I won't ever drink myself senseless.
What was that?
Nothing, Chief. A pleasant morning to you too.
He's probably calling the rag on me or complaining about what happened with his wife. Which is really none of my business unless it affects my case. It really seems like usual rich man cheats on his wife deal. Although I would have chosen to follow up on it if it were somebody else's wife. But figuring it out, it's the Chief's hay. I trust him to come clean. If the missus is related to the right shady dealing. This is why I left before they hauled the woman out last night. I'm not going to go around investigating cheating husbands and wives, when it's probably just that. Chief appears to be at a different idea in mind, though.
There's nothing pleasant in the morning. Anyway, where are you? I told you millions of times before to keep your lines open.
He did, and not only him. Zach and Rebecca, Isabella, all of them have said the same thing numerous times in the past. But I was undercover last night, and a phone call is the last thing I want to happen, when there are other things I need to focus on at the time. Besides, we have the radio on the work-issued phones. Why isn't he calling me through those if this is urgent?
Just woke up, sir. As awesome as it is to hear your voice this morning, it really is early. If you could give me a few minutes just to wake myself up, that'd be swell.
No need for that. This won't take long.
Is something wrong? Am I needed at the precinct ASAP?
Oh no, everything's good over there. Just... Look, kid. Frey. Don't take this personally, alright? You're off the Luxborn firm case. It's done today.
Well, I did not expect to hear that either. This must be some kind of cosmic joke. I allow some awkward seconds to pass. Chief must be pulling another one of his awful pranks. Out of his bad mood on a severe hangover maybe. The conclusion doesn't take too much brain power. Everyone knows that when given the chance, he exercises no control with his drinking. It isn't for his wife causing a stir. He'll probably be trashed an hour in at the party. He has likely drank more than they've thrown her out of the ballroom. Besides, his sense of humor has never been good. It's just infuriating more than time. But when he doesn't follow it up, if I sound a tiny bit frustrated speaking with my own superior, I'm not the one to blame.
Wait, no. What? Are you kidding, Chief? Is this one of your practical jokes again? The Temps won't say anything about it, but
It's not that. They're orders. From the higher-ups.
Ah, the higher-ups. Yes, my favorite word. Since when has the higher-ups ever cared about the criminal investigation department? As far as I can tell, they don't give a hoot if CID is filled with cold cases, as long as we keep the spending low. When I need to view those old case files, though, they're locked away in the archives. You're gonna have to check with the higher-ups. I needed access to these reports. See if the higher-ups will allow it. Why? Every step, every move of the case, there's one that hasn't had gated me by some authority. If it's not the chief, it's the commission, or so they always tell me. It makes one wonder why bother assigning it to anyone. Not a single one of them has done anything to help move the case. And they wonder why it has taken this long for even a hint of progress to show.
you can't just drop this on me. You can't just take me off like that.
Yes, I can. sorry, Ashton. You're a good detective. One of the best I've seen in years, but
3 years, Chief. 3 years.
3 years since the anonymous tech leak blew. Since Luke Wright's name has been openly linked to several nasty dealings with the Luxborn Corporation world, some of them involving deaths. 3 years that I'm the only one who has made it this far, made much progress officers and with more experience haven't been able to do when they handled this case. Just within a year, and with barely any help from the damn brass at that. Of course I'll be pissed.
Do you know what would have happened if I didn't work my ass off on this thing? If I didn't dedicate a whole year of my time on it? It would have gone cold, like every fucking case Luke Wright has been linked to. I saved this from getting thrown into the archives, sir. I'm getting close. If you could just...
I'm fully aware of what you've done, Frey. But the Commissioner hasn't been happy with your progress. Still too slow by their standards.
Too slow? Well, what about those reports I filed? I've documented every freaking thing for them. I've given you every important lead I can gather. Isn't that enough?
They need results, not a bunch of research papers. Not one baseless assumption after another. Concrete proof, Frey. I'm really sorry. They've already made a decision. They're going to pass this on to someone who's been in the force longer. Someone who has more experience.
Someone who has more experience?
They meant nothing by it, but you're still too young to work on a case this big.
Chief, I've already done more than what those old farts ever did behind their desks. All of it, within just a year of being assigned to this.
Watch your language, Frey. Those are your superiors,
I'm not some damn rookie fresh out of training. I'm as qualified as they are.
Futile. I know it is. They'll never say it within earshot, but from the very minute I stepped in their precinct, the lot of them has underestimated me, from their stares alone into the assignment I get. To them, I still just a kid. Too young, too green, too inexperienced. Once they pull that card on me, every argument I have gets thrown out the window, no matter how logical it is. No matter how much I've accomplished, what the records say, or the amount of work I've put on every investigation they've thrown my way.
We're all aware of your skills, kid. You wouldn't have that badge and rank if you weren't good enough. However, this case is just not for you. Too high profile, too risky to put a good officer like you in harm's way.
Can I even hear him? Can he even hear himself? The reasoning is odd in itself. No one joins this line of work without knowing the dangers of it.
Don't I get a second chance? You said it yourself. I'm a good detective. It'll just be a matter of time before we can close this.
It doesn't matter what I think, Frey. You're off the case, and that's final. I expect all related files and documents on my desk by Monday morning. And don't even try to go touch anything. I know how hard-headed and determined you are.
Chief, please. A few more weeks. I'll have the proper evidence left on your desk by then. I swear it won't take longer than that.
Fred, it's too late, boy. I've already informed the other officers. You aren't to be allowed access until you've been given a new assignment. Hell, just keep out of the precinct, Fred. Take the weekend off.
Seriously, Chief, is this about last night? If this is about me being at that party, I have a good reason for...
You were at the party.
It makes me pause. His wary tone, the sudden careful note in his voice. Slowly a frown forms into my face. My brows knitting together in confusion. Much as I hate to say this about my own boss, there's also suspicion in it. Hard not to think of it in that way, seeing how he acted around Hannah Wright last night. Is he worried? But why should he be? Everyone was invited. Granted, his precinct sprouts plenty of questions, but I didn't doubt for a second why he would receive one. There's something wrong, and I've unintentionally walked into it, in the process of saving all the work I've been doing. Who knows, though? All I have is the sneaking suspicion, but when one looks at it from a different angle, put everything together, why the hell I've been taken off my case might be the same reason he's here in the first place. Fuck.
Yes, Chief, I was. For a good reason. A friend invited me to go with her. What were you doing there? I know we don't have a strict rule against attending functions, but that was...
He coughs. It almost sounds like he's choking on his own. Excuses, lies. I don't want to accuse him of anything. Yet he's someone to respect him since I joined the LPD. Even with his bizarre sense of humor and tendency in the procrastination. My dogs are playing, sorry. He's obviously competent enough to get the job done. He won't be Chief Inspector of Luxborn if he isn't. He won't last a year in the service without some tracking record backing him. Unless that, too, is a fluke. And what's backing him is not something, but someone. Oh. Oh, shit. Fucking hell. Fucking shit.
Chief Harvey, about last night with the...
Why does it matter, Frey? This isn't about that.
What does it matter? What does it matter? I'll recite the whole oath we've taken upon sworn into the service if I can. But at this point, it seems too late to remind him of that. He's probably already moving from serving and protecting people to serving and protecting his own interest. Damn it. I suspected the upper brass of this, even the lower rank subordinates in the force, but my own boss? Shit. No wonder what that leak didn't lead anywhere. Someone closer might be pulling the strings. I might have been set up to fail long before the fucking case has been assigned to me. But I don't want to just give this up. I don't want to believe I've wasted an entire year for this. I don't want this to be kind of news to tell Professor Clark after all those promises I've given that man.
I just want to know, sir, at the party, with Luke and Hannah Wright, you were...
Monday, Detective Inspector. First thing in the morning. Every copy of the files you have, I want to see it all on my table, understood?
This isn't...
Frey, am I understood?
What else can I do other than smile and nod? With my own superior expecting an answer, using that tone, brushing my question off as easy as disregarding a dead body.
Yes. Yes, sir.
He cuts the line as soon as the words are out. You're off the case, Frey. Just like that. Funny though, why has it caught me off guard? I discovered years ago how different the actual thing is. How far from reality everything I've been this so dreamy-eyed kid. There's no high-speed pursuits every day. No thrilling gunfights or excitement case every step of the way. Only paperwork. Lots of red tape. And dealing with politics and bureaucracy. I set out to change things. Hopefully it'll make things better for the people I care about. In the end, changing me instead. Serves me right, I guess, for being too idealistic. Probably telling me that it's better to remain skeptical I really am. Now here I am, standing useless. Can't even do anything but grit my teeth and kick the wall as the line finally goes dead. The bastard didn't even acknowledge my response!
What did the poor wall ever do to you?
It figures Rebecca will be the one to find me in an embarrassing state. Honestly, I don't like it when she sees me like this, which seems to happen a lot regardless of what I want.
Rebecca, now's not a good time.
The concern I expect from her when I turn isn't there, however. Instead, she just looks annoyed. The storm I left brewing last night, it's right there in her face, ready to be unleashed.
When is it ever a good time for you? You're always so busy with everything now. Now I find you here, sneaking out without even bothering with a proper goodbye. Not even a word. Really, I'm starting to think you're just keeping me around for my couch and my cooking.
Becca, it's not what you're thinking. I wasn't planning on sneaking out. I was going to say goodbye. I just had to take this call. Although, I'm not gonna lie, couch is great. 10 out of 10. Would sleep again.
Stop it with the jokes, Ashton. I'm not in the mood.
The bitterness in her voice is not lost on me. But at this point in our friendship and our lives, how does this still expect me to answer that? What am I supposed to tell her now?
Are you still mad about last night?
She merely raises an eyebrow at me, which, to be honest, is all the response I need. Seeing her like this, very clearly ticked off, makes me believe those things C-Man says. The part where Rebecca scares him, sometimes. I've certainly seen this more than once already. The familiarity in it doesn't take away from the downhill turn of the conversation starting to take. Only an awkward cough serves as a brief way to stall.
Okay, of course you're still mad. But whatever happened last night, I really am sorry. I'll apologize as many times as you want. If you want, I'd even kneel or something.
Ashton, an apology is nice and all, but that's not what I wanted to hear from you today. You know that full well.
Alright, Fine, okay. Where do you want to start?
Oh, I don't know. I've honestly lost track of it by your third trip to the buffet table.
I wasn't... The drive up there took a bit. Can you blame me if I wanted to grab some appetizers?
Oh, come on, Ash. For the whole evening? For the whole party? Please don't tell me that's all you did, because I've never known you as someone who pigs out. You even took great lengths to avoid me. Should I also mention how you ignored Zach? Sometimes I get the feeling you don't want to be seen with us out in public. Some friendship, huh?
You know it's not like that. It's never going to be like that, Becca.
Maybe you even just used me to get into the party. You said yes to being my +1, but you were rather excited to just peel yourself off, weren't you? Honestly, I'm feeling a bit used.
Can't even look at her in the eye. It's not that I lied to her. I honestly wanted to be there. To keep Zach safe and to keep Rebecca safe. Just in case. Client or family friend. It still has a party hosted by the person of interest. By a man accused years ago of murdering a person's wife to get what he wants. But then Chief shows up, Hannah Wright happened, and Luke Wright just can't be bothered to die off peacefully somewhere. All of a sudden, none of the original reasons matter. If I found out, right then and there, hell, if Zach or Rebecca's connection with me was found out, who knows what could have happened. But Rebecca doesn't understand that. Doesn't understand what I can and can't keep from them from harm. It's all in her eyes, in the tight line of her lip and forward brow. The hurt.
I'll ask this again. Just what were you up to during the party? What were you doing that you couldn't even take 2 seconds to make time for your friends?
The day is just off to a wonderful start. First my case, now Becca. How do I even start to go about this? Insist it's confidential. I mean, she's never been one to say anything, so I don't really care. I can't tell if that went up or down. Obviously, I can't say, hey, Becca, you know the rights? They're supposed to be the ringleaders of a criminal syndicate that shit like that. Protocol or otherwise, there are so many things I'm not allowed to tell the others. Even if I'm able to share information with civilians, knowing that I know could very well put them in danger. It's why I keep it vague, obscure in fact, or when push comes to shove, stretch the truth and lie through my teeth. It's a necessity I've grown to deal with, and I've already become a part of me, no matter how much I loathe doing it. No.
I mentioned it, didn't I? I saw an old friend and I thought I'd catch up. Didn't really notice how long our chat got. You know what they say about time flying when you're having fun, and Lloyd is a fun guy.
She doesn't look convinced at all. Though she's the tall, very picture of someone who's at least willing to listen, her glare effectively takes a good 20 off my current years. I feel like a kid again, being reprimanded by a junior high teacher for sleeping in class. But getting away with it that easier than with this one. It's the thing with someone you've been friends with for so long. They're the ones who know you inside out. Good grades won't be enough for Rebecca to easily let this whole thing slide.
So, this Lloyd is a friend of yours who was at the party?
Yeah, we go way back in the police academy. Though you wouldn't have met him. See, he mostly deals with teenagers and gets into a lot of messy stuff and...
Cut the shite. You're not a very good storyteller, Ash. Don't try to make up a character just so that you can lie to me.
Why did I ever think that this is a good idea? Although I'm not making those people up, only twisting the facts for someone who's already angry beyond reason. Everything will sound like an excuse.
I'm not making stuff up. I did have a college mate named Lloyd. I think you would have liked him. You're both Scottish. He used to hang out a lot with Joey and Rashid, but they went off to work juvie in London. Bunch of good guys. I should really ask if they're swinging by Lux anytime soon.
That doesn't make things any better. You were there because I invited you, and you just up and turned your nose from me. You might as well have disappeared completely for all you cared. Just say you don't want to talk about it instead of lying to my face.
I do feel guilty. Still, we've been already been down this road. Because when I said stretch, I thought he meant like he was just not gonna like be like vague about it and stuff. At least she would have got something. I didn't know that he was gonna lie to her. This is something I've done so repeatedly in the past. Something she's heard from me more than more than times than my fingers could count. Something I'll just have to get over with at this moment.
I'm sorry, you know that, Becca. I really, really am. I wouldn't do this shit if I didn't have a good reason to.
And you know that I don't like you lying to me! If you can't tell the truth, just don't say anything and shut your gob! I swear, Ashton Frey, you are just so dense! I'm so angry. I can't even bear to look at you right now because I swear I'll knock you right off your block! I mean, what good reason could you have to act like an antisocial asshole?
Okay, yeah, I know, like, you're mad. I do think you're going a little over the top, though, Rebecca.
The only time you did talk to me was to spout some vague nonsense about Luke. What was that all about? Were you somehow expecting me to just accept everything as it is?
You really shouldn't go near that man, Becca.
Why? Because you don't trust him? I wonder if you actually trust anyone. Aside from the three of us, Zach, Isabella, and myself, do you even have any other friends? If you're perfectly fine with that, then go ahead. No one is stopping you. But don't expect me to share the same views. I can have a life of my own. Friends that I don't necessarily share with you. I'm an adult, Ashton, and I can make my own bloody decisions. I sure as hell can choose the people I want to let into my life.
Of course, she's allowed to do as she pleases. I've never mentioned that she can't. Us growing up together doesn't mean it's always has to be just the two of us. It's a dumb notion to believe when nothing ever remains constant. Things will inevitably change throughout the years. She'll make friends with people outside of our little circus. I'm just as free to form relationships with other people. But why of all people did it have to be him? Why does it have to be Luke? Luke Wright. The guy is nothing but trouble. How can she defend a guy like that? She already calling Luke up for Pete's sake.
I trust Zach, I trust Isabella, and I trust you, Rebecca. So why can't you trust me on this? You need to stay away from that man. Because he's... I really wish I could tell you.
What was that saying Isabella mentioned before? A liar is a brother of a thief. People who will look at me now will probably say my hair is better away from being a criminal. Z-Man has mentioned that once, a few years into our friendship. I laughed it off back then. But now, they're probably right. A little bit by little, I'm becoming a very kind of person I hate. How ironic. They're silent afterwards, bringing even heavier air between us. I don't remember any of this when we were on Rebecca's side of the story, and I should just kind of let it go. What happened? Something Rebecca thankfully doesn't allow to linger more than necessary.
I suppose you have to go now, huh?
The situation is already awkward as it is. Prolonging will only make it more, what? Difficult? Messed up? As if it already hasn't? In some way, the lack of words is already understanding in itself. It's better to leave things for now, and talk about it when the wounds are no longer fresh at the minds. At least, it's something we both outwardly agree on the moment.
Back to your case again?
I don't really have to. I have no case. As far as the job is concerned, I have the weekend off until I have to report to Chief on Monday. Although I don't want to just throw in the towel on this, orders are orders. This isn't like the movies. I don't get to say fuck off, throw my gun at the badge at him, become some vigilante, save the day, and get my job back. I'll sooner or later get my ass thrown in jail than do anything of that. But it's also not my nature to sit and do nothing. It'll drive me crazy if I just idle about. Besides, Professor Clark has to know about the whole Luke Wright thing.
Yeah, I need to go talk to Professor Clark. And there's something else I need to look into.
That other matter she mentioned last night specifically. The same stuff Zachary has been trying to tell me. Things even the news have been blasting out general publicly lately. Everything, evening, afternoon, morning. All deaths with the same modules. Blamed on a single serial killer. Or is it that case?
Found dead in the early hours of the morning today. The fire was contained within the room and no other tenants were harmed, according to Luxborn police.
Frankly, there's only one lead we have on this at the moment. All the crime scenes where the victims have been found have also been vandalized with the same message as the letter. It's something, though, that nothing substantially is going to go by. Granted, I can bring up the letter Isabella found in the mansion, but chances are they will just give it a pass as off a coincidence. The coincidence is never substantial, never enough in my work. There must be something that we haven't seen yet. Excuse me. The culprit has simply exploited those urban legends to hide his criminals. Relatively speaking, we're grasping at straws as far as the murders are concerned. I'm not even the one heading to the investigation, yet look at me treating it as if another high-profile case is on my shoulder. How sad is that? Even LPD doesn't have an inkling of where we're supposed to be looking for here. Although all three of my friends have mentioned seeing something strange, I don't want to get into that line of thinking right now. Particularly with how much every news outlet has blown this up. Not yet. Not until I've exhausted every logical reasoning and argument I could throw at it. I tell the truth though, I don't know how to take all of this anymore. But I've already given Isabella my word. It'll bother me more if I don't follow up on a promise I made her. And after Rebecca's claims last night, I'm not sure if the decision meant to pacify or part of me is just desperate to put a stop to these deaths. It also goes to say that there won't be enough sarcasm in the world if they are saying is true. Isabella's laughter already echoes in my head in the fact.
Figures. What else can it be?
It's not another case. It's something else. That issue Isabella mentioned yesterday morning. I'm sure you remember. You were there.
Well, at least you're not neglecting all your friends.
Becca, I promised her I'll...
She doesn't wait for me to finish. With a roll of her eye, she turns around and shuts the door in my face. I have no idea what I've said this time, but...
I probably deserve that.
We're just gonna have to mend this some other time. By then, her temper's sure to have cooled off significantly. Hopefully. For now, I can't laze around. Gotta attend to things that matter more. Professor Clark first. Deliver the bad news, then issue the BRC and Isabella. Maybe I'll also drop by Zach's check on him. Hear what he has to say. He also read the damn letter. He's also been saying odd things about a bunch of photographs. I might as well, while I'm here, paying a paranormal detectives, or is it supernatural? I can't remember. The certainty isn't something I'll bother with on my free day. I'm going to be laughing stock of the precinct. If anyone finds out I'm considering this as a possible angle for these murders, Inspector Abigail and Officer Carl mostly. Whatever. I wouldn't hurt anyone if I had to try to get to the bottom of this. No one has to know either. If nothing comes out of it, then good. Everyone can shut up about the stupid curse, and we can finally get back on track and with our lives, onto more important stuff. If there's something.
Are you two done?
Her voice instantly jerks me out of my thoughts. My head snaps in search of her. There's a moment of confusion when I don't see her familiar ponytail about, only to find her standing behind the door of her apartment seconds later. Isabella holds it up, through only slightly as if to hide anyone who might happen to pass by. This early on a lazy weekend, I doubt anyone will. But from the gape of the little light there is behind her, I can make out the appearance of someone who just clearly gone out of bed. Hair in complete disarray, eyes still heavy in sleep, and small pout of her lips. I can tell why she doesn't want to be seen by anyone yet. She hasn't even gone out of her pajamas. I look away long enough before my sense of decorum kicks in. We might be friends. I'll even dare to say we've grown closer over the years. But that doesn't extend beyond the boundaries of property? Christ, even Rebecca never greets her early visitors in sleep clothes. Though maybe it's our fault why she's up this early. Checking the ones makes the ruckus outside her room. Still, he makes a slow crawl up my neck. One that I quickly downplay with a solid cough.
Isabella, you're up early.
Lame.
No, I'm not. I'm usually up at this hour. You're the one that usually sucks at getting up early.
Says the person who looks like she's just fallen out of bed.
Instead of the usual quip, she simply looks away. Averts her gaze at some point beside her, and although it only flashes briefly across her face, an expression of hurt flickering in her eyes. It disappears the second she turns her attention back to me, but the fleeting moment has sent me worried churn in my stomach. I've seen it on the plenty of times before, just never in manner that unsettles. It feels, I don't know, off this time? I didn't say anything wrong, did I?
Hey, are you...
Anyway, was that Becca with you? You both sound like Mama and Papa when they fight. You're awfully loud. If we get another memo from the landlady, I'm asking the guard to ban you from ever entering this place.
Me? Becca's the one almost shouting.
Yeah, well, she lives here. You don't. You have no excuse. You're the suspicious-looking person.
Thanks. Glad at least one person appreciates how I pretty up this place.
Don't flatter yourself. This place would be so much better without having to see your face every few days.
She follows it up with another pout. But her ruffled appearance, particularly how puffy her eyes are, I noticed just now, take away from the intimidating effect she's trying to exhibit. In the first place, she's not that kind who looks terrified. Rebecca's more of the capable of pulling off that. Isabella, not so much. She's going to have to try harder than that. There are times when she can and does, though only on a bad day, and when she means it. Really, right now, she just appears more angry, like an angry puppy. I might have laughed had it not been giving me another nagging sense that something is definitely wrong with her. What? Has she been crying earlier? That is worrying. She rarely does that. The only time it happened, the only one I've ever seen her genuinely tear up over something. I think it was after Delvin Court, the night at the bridge. I want to ask. She seems determined to keep it up to herself, though, and at the moment I sense question coming, she deflects. Changes the subject, cuts me off, faster than I can weave 2 words into a proper
Belle,
sentence.
did something...
About yesterday, Ash. The things we talked about. Do you think we can take a look at it today?
We? I never said you're coming with me. Don't worry, I didn't forget about it. You'll be the first to know if I find anything.
No, I want to go with you. I'll be ready in a few. This won't take long.
Isabella, you really don't have to. I can handle it on my own. You'll just...
I won't get in the way, I promise. Besides, maybe I can help. You know, if there are files you want to check.
I don't know what she's implying. It's true, LPD's having a hard time with this, but taking Isabella with me, it's out of the question. Under normal circumstances...
You're the one who's going to get in trouble if you do that.
You said it yourself. You need information, and I can help you get that. And it's not like it matters anymore. I just don't want to stand around doing nothing today.
There it is again. There's a slight shift in her eyes, the mild crease forming between her eyebrows, and the mild slump in her shoulders, while she crosses her arms lightly around herself. Like she's shielding herself from whatever painful thing there is out here. I have plenty of reasons why I shouldn't let her tag along. First and foremost, she's a civilian. Second, I have no concrete plan of action yet. I'm going to go into this blind. No matter how I look at it, it's simply better for her to just wait, without even being dragged into what might be another one of my failures. Her assumptions might be at a dead end for all we know. But seeing the expression on her face, hearing her speak those words out loud, in desperate, I almost pleading tone, I can't bring myself to say no. So I allow it. I give in, because right there, I see myself in her. The person who doesn't want to stay idle, who doesn't want to think of the problems haunting him.
All right, 5 minutes.
What? You're timing me?
Well, I can't wait forever. I'm a very busy guy. 4 minutes and 45 seconds, Isabella.
I hate you so much.
4 minutes and 30 seconds, 29, 28. I'd hurry if I were you.
Ugh, you're awful! I hope you never get a girlfriend.
She slams the door right after. Although my chuckles, the laughter, the lightness of it linger. With her, those have always come easy somehow. Even as it echoes, it dies down. Only the ghost of smile remains as I stare at the closed door of the apartment.
It's not like I'm looking for anyone else.
Oh, I was right! He does like her! I want to tell her. It's not because I can't! I won't! I'm so happy! I'm sorry, Rebecca! I'm sorry, I know you really feel for him, but I really like Isabella and him together. I'm so sorry, Rebecca! I'm the one— I guess you shouldn't have shit on the ramen earlier. I'm the one who has chosen not to, until I fixed myself. Until I found myself underneath all the guilt and those lies I've been telling all these years. Because no matter how heavy the weight of those feelings are, I'm not yet worthy of them. Of her. Until then, little words and gestures are the only thing I can offer. Minor stuff such as digging deeper into the things with BRC in order to ease her worries. I'm not even sure if this bear will any fruit. Unlike with the firm case, which I already have proper leads on, I'm just going to buy her words on this. Speaking of the Luxborn firm case, I still have informed the professor. The apprehension there is for sure. I made a lot of promise to the man, and I would have preferred to tell him in person, not over the phone. But it's better to hear it from him ASAP rather than the outside source. Derailing off the steady brace while I wait for him to answer. I like to think I would do this without losing my nerve. My grip on the bars surely tightened, though. Once Colin connects, his voice rings with the other end.
Oh, no, not today.
Not running today, Professor?
He's usually at the park on late Saturday mornings, as long as it's raining cats and dogs. Keeping him young and healthy, he says. He's certainly fit for a man of his age and sedentary jobs. Now's a good time as any to get a few miles in. We've been having rather cold, odd, pleasantly sunny days, as opposed to the usual gloomy, rainy Luxborn ones after all. If you want to run on the pavement rather than on the treadmill without going home soaping wet, might as well take advantage of the strange weather.
Ashton.
Whoa, those lines were mixed up. He said he was supposed to say Ashton, but then, oh no, not today. What? He's definitely at the usual place, though. Cheers and laughter, like from children and families, filter through the receiver. During the days like this, I can easily picture the sound of it lending the park with a kind of warm atmosphere. I tend to avoid the precisely because of that. No use dwelling on that could have has, when it already had been. Mom's doing well with her career. Dad's also fine with the last time I visited. Although neither remarried, they're both content with their lives as it is. I'm probably the only one still caught up with it, hence my aversion. But all in all, it's still a pleasant sight to see. If you're the kind who takes such joy in sights, just like the Professor Clark.
Just thought I'd enjoy the nice weather before it takes a turn for the norm again. And to what do I owe the pleasure?
The guy certainly seems happy right now. In any case, I almost don't want to break the news to him. His cheerful tone. I don't want to ruin that. But it's better to get this off quick as long as he doesn't shoot the messenger. He's not the type, however. Long-held resentment can change a person, even someone as mild-mannered as the professor.
I was hoping to talk to you about the case.
I suppose I'm just the downer today. As soon as I say those words, he immediately pauses and the lightness in his voice is gone in an instant. Every time we've talked about this in the past, he does that. He probably is trying to gauge the situation based on the tone of my voice. Perhaps it's a good thing I'm delivering the news over through the phone. Who knows what he'll see in the face of my mannerism. The art of keen observation. I've learned it from the man. It does just say he already has an idea what this might be about, from the manner of speaking alone.
You aren't in trouble, are you?
For a second I hesitate, looking at the dirt beneath my shoes, but I manage eventually. After a long, rapid draw of breath, I pick up where I left off, though still fumbling with my phrasing.
Well, I'm in a bit of trouble, if you can call it that.
Ashton.
He only assumes the tone that when there's reprimand at his heels.
But I'm not in danger or anything.
You've said that same excuse a million times before, Detective Inspector. That exhausted rasp in your voice tells a different story.
It's nothing like what you're thinking. Don't worry. I was just... I was taken off the Luxborn firm case.
I expect anger. Frustration. Maybe even disappointment. Maybe all he gives me is a small sigh of relief.
Is that so? Well, at least you aren't in danger. Liz wouldn't be too happy if she heard you right now.
Liz. Aunt Liz, she insisted I call her. His late wife. A sweet-tempered woman, so many standards, never blessed with kids and contented herself with simple managing of the new openly bakery. But she's the closet I had to a mom for a few years I had known her. The professor too. In the absence of my own parents in my life, the two feel the ache their divorce left in me.
Believe me, you'd get an earful. You don't want to show up on her doorstep looking like you haven't slept a wink either.
How many years has it been? 9? 10? Can't even remember it vividly. Two men, properly dressed, briefcase in hand, and a stern look on each other's face. They had been frequent visitors to the bakery in a month prior, sometimes about the lot being prime property in the downtown Luxborn. I think they were hoping to settle a deal with them, but neither of the couple gave in to their demands. Why should they? That quality of the little shop was a dream for them after all. Aunt Liz sent me home early that night, after a fruitless wait from the professor. The next morning, news of the bakery razed to the ground and had spread across the whole city. One casualty. A few weeks later, the property was sold to the Wright Enterprise. A fucking hotel now stands in its place, so he was... wow. Of course, an investigation was launched after the incident. The name of Luke Wright was briefly at the center of it, but with the lack of any evidence, and the case ultimately went cold. The professor hides it well. However, I can tell he hates that man to this day. It won't be too long of a stretch to think that he blames Luke Wright for every tragedy that happens in the city. He has never blamed me, though, when I'm equally responsible. I knew something off within the moment those men stepped into the side of the shop. I could have saved her that night. I could have prevented anything from happening to her, called for help or whatever. I didn't. So it continued to eat at me until today. The guilt. The Luxborn firm case would have been our chance at reporting the old case if he can prove Luke right for his crimes. Instead, we're back to square one. Yet he has all our words are of comfort. To think he can still be concerned about me after the carelessness, after I've broken another promise this second time. People never cease to amaze me.
You might think that you have failed as an officer. Or maybe you think that you have failed me. And you know more than anyone. I would love to see that man taken down. If anyone deserves to be tried in high court, it's him. But I'm glad nothing's happened to you while you were working on this. That's what's most important. I'd hate to get news like that again.
He stops. I imagine a thoughtful look flashing his eyes as he thumbs the wedding band on his ring finger before he continues. Another habit. He's never removed it since that day. He's never thought to remarry, even when he managed to continue with his life and return to some semblance of normalcy. It's his way of honoring her, I suppose, when he can't even bring the man responsible for a loss of justice. Needless to say, some people are just hard to forget.
It's not like another death. Yours or even his will bring back my wife.
Since falls between us afterwards. In silence, what? I don't quite know what to say after that, really. Should I apologize? Show some sympathy? Going into this, I should have thought of something other than just breaking the news to him. As it is, it seems the only thing to do is to feel sorry for each other's misfortunes.
I apologize, too, for putting you up to this.
On another occasion, under different circumstances, I might have accepted that, but...
You didn't have to, but you've already done more than any officer who has investigated this. So don't worry about this, old man. I know your department's people all have their hands full recently, too. What with the upsetting news we've been getting as of late, deaths almost every day, I'm not entirely sure if that has anything to do with the other. It seems too big even for someone like him. But if this is that man's doing...
Professor, please.
Maybe if things around me hadn't already been going beyond my control. The letter, the mansion, the supposed curse behind those. I'll still be quick to blame it all on the bastard too. But as much as I want to keep holding him responsible for it, to add another to his list of sins, it might not be the case. Agreeingly will only cut deeper wounds on the professor. I don't want him to keep clinging to this resentment for much longer. He has already gone through so many years of it. This kind of anger, it's the sword that blinds people. Despite his reassurance, the bitterness still seeps into my eye every syllable he utters. It's one thing for me to act like this. It's painful to watch someone I've considered second father to go down this path.
Please don't apologize. It's really alright. I can try to get it back on Monday when I meet with the chief. No promises, but if not, I'll make sure to keep an ear out for any news. Chief said he's passing it on to a senior officer. I should be able to catch a few tidbits every once in a while. But I swear I won't just give up on this. I'll do everything in my power to get Aunt Liz's case reopened for you.
Promises again. A bad habit at this point. I wish I could do more for him. At this point, I've always prided myself for being the one who always know. I'm not so sure anymore. It seems to be far from the case now. Because suddenly, aside from the riot and the murders plaguing the city, I have ghosts and curses to worry about. Those are things completely out of my depth. I'll ask the professor. That's his area. I'll bite from the cultural and physiological standpoint. But how much of an insensitive jerk can I be? To ask these assistants while giving him none of my own. I don't even know how much of this I can look into. Before there is just stuff of legends, stories. Professor Clark's right in some way. This would be so much easier if Luke Wright is to be blamed for all this. At least finding evidence for that will be a breeze for me. And I'll be all too happy to put him in his place he deserves. Although, if he is any, also complicit to what happening, legal teas have my hand tied. But maybe that's my fault. I might have missed the ticket to closing the case once and for all last night. If only I've done a better job of during the party. Within the commotion, there was Hannah Wright and Rebecca, distracting me from my purpose too. I'll include the gatecrasher standing behind them as well, even though it's only for a moment. So many things have gone wrong the last night that I've lost my focus in. Hold on.
This isn't a prank! I saw something! See? This is why I didn't want to tell you guys. It's not a joke! Will you guys listen to me first? I saw something in the house earlier. It stood right in front of me. If I hadn't gotten away, that thing might have...
Last night at the party.
But it's real! What do you think I saw? It happened after, when I was trying to get away. I almost got stuck in the same room with that thing. We're all in danger. I thought you were my friends. Why don't you believe me?
That woman.
Why don't we all calm down first? I'm sure Isabella has her reasons too. No need to be hard on her.
Shit! If that's what Isabella has been warning us about, if that's the same ghost Rebecca talked about last night, or what Zachary told me about a few days prior, how many of these instances have I dismissed since reading that letter? How many have I passed off because of the fatigue or lack of sleep? Even last night, a hallucinogen of lacing in the food was the first thing I've considered as a culprit for what I've seen. Purely because that's what my training dictates. It's what I've grown used to. It's the settling of the gears in my head automatically taking in a situation like that. Of course, in spite of these suspicions, I'm not discounting all of that yet until I've had enough information. Something in the form of conclusion, proof, in whatever form may come. But thinking straightly is impossible when all of a sudden all your beliefs are being upturned in the most violent way possible at that. Cognitive, dishonest, and at its finest. Jesus, I need a sounding board. I need to talk to someone and Zach's the best person for that.
I have to go, Professor. I'm really sorry to cut this call short.
Oh, no problem. But what
I don't have time to say any more. No time to stop and listen to what the professor has to say as I cut the call short. In the same second, Isabella emerges from the apartment, fully dressed and ready for the day. As usual, she greets me with a smile, but it falls just as fast once she catches a glimpse of my face. Shame. That would have been the first comforting thing I've seen today. It annoys me I'm practically responsible for the worried line replacing it. I have no idea how I appear to her right now. Must be close to a picture of someone choking or dying, because there's nothing but concern in the first words she speaks.
Ash, are you... Do you need to go to the bathroom?
Yeah, no, I don't, okay? But we should hurry. Come on, don't forget to lock your door.
Seriously, you look like you're about to fall over. Are you alright? Because if you're planning to faint right here, I won't be able to carry you.
Yes, don't mind me. I just remembered some stuff from last night. I need to talk to Z-Man about this. Mind if we drop by his place first?
Shouldn't we call him? To let him know? It's still pretty early, though we'd probably arrive there around noon. Also, what do you mean about this? Is Zach...
He was also there when I opened the letter, right? He read it too. I'm sure he's fine, but it wouldn't hurt to check on him. To make sure. See if he'll say the same things you told me yesterday.
When did Zach die? I'm so sorry. Not today. The 31st morning. Which I think is Monday. I think that's supposed to be the Monday. Yep. Alright. If he also has been seeing things, it's if it's the same woman I saw last night.
I'm not saying there's really a curse yet, but we have to look at this from every possible angle. And don't worry, he won't mind. He's probably just watching TV right now. Let's go.
Okay, but speak up if you're not feeling well. You really look like you're choking on something. You didn't have to do this for me in the first place.
You know it's not as simple as that.
We head down to my car in record time. Not a single second wasted to hit the road and drive to Zach's place. Okay, I totally forgot the profile! Woo woo! Ashton Ash Frey. His birthday is December 26th. He is a Capricorn. 29 years old. He is 5'5". Wow, you are tiny. Occupation, detective inspector. Nationality, American Japanese. His religion, he's a Christian. Non-practicing. His education, he has a bachelor's degree in forensic science. He likes teriyaki ice cream. What? It does not say teriyaki. I'm going to ignore that I just said that. Surely. Ophelia. Old-time action movies and thrillers. Kart racing. Jazz and swing. Sherlock Holmes. Justice. Wow. There was little love between him and his parents. And though he grew up privileged, he found little joy in student life. He has the standard testing system as a chore, and considered his popularity among his peers to be annoyance. Rebecca has the only one he has considered a friend in St. Gority, and he is no better when he went into a university. If anything, his indifferent outlook got worse with his parents' divorce. He initially took law, but was quickly disillusioned by how heavy-handed and abused the system was. Forensic science, on the other hand, became fascinating for him. He served a brief time as a police officer before he was applied to join the Luxbourne Criminal Investigation Department. Early on when he was too eager to deal out justice, but his numerous years in service became quite the learning experience for him. Now as a detective inspector, he is assigned to his biggest case yet. If any one of us, other than Isabella, who's known anything about what's going on, who will help sort the muddled mess my mind is, it's going to be him. He'd listen to her. Okay, guys, we're gonna stop there. Like I said, Ashton days are very long from what it seems like. I mean, just that, we just barely got past the morning. Oh my goodness. Maybe this part wouldn't have been that long and I could have finished it, but I'm just gonna save it for another episode. I hope you guys are enjoying. It looks like we are really gonna be picking up pace here with Ashton. I'm really, really excited. I hope you guys continue to follow me and check out the next episodes that come out. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great and wonderful day. Bye!